friend to take you out of this place.
Live from the Broughton Cabinet Studio, it's the Need to Know Morning Show on AM 1100, The Flag.
8:06 here on this beautiful Tuesday morning. Every week we get the honor of having someone from our business community in who has started a company, who's leading one, who's growing one, making it happen, making the world go round in our economy. It is all about the business community when it comes to this wonderful economy that's given so much opportunity to so many over the years. And we can only hope that all this great economic freedom and upward mobility continues to last forever and ever in this great USA, right? On that. And we want to thank the good folks at Vaaler Insurance for sponsoring the CEO Spotlight. When it comes to protecting your business, nobody beats Vaaler. And we are pleased to have in studio today Charlie Ricketts. Charlie is the CEO of Dakota Solar Energy, and he's with us today here in the studios off I-29.
He's got a theme song, too.
He's got some walk-up music here. Yeah,
here comes the sun.
I like it.
Charlie, good morning and welcome.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here. I appreciate it.
Great to have you. Tell us about Dakota Solar Energy. What are you and what do you do?
Well, this started back in about 2014 when I left North Dakota. I was living in Jamestown, and I went down to Arizona, and I began a career with Solar City. And lo and behold, we were connected to Tesla, and we became Tesla about 2016, and I stayed in the energy space, and I drank the Kool-Aid. And I came home, and I chose to live in Bismarck about a year ago, and I just couldn't see myself doing anything else. So I felt like it was just the right time to bring the knowledge and the experience that I had learned down south and bring it back here. And so I educate people. We design, install, and sell solar energy.
Okay. When you say we were Tesla, explain that.
Yeah, so Solar City was actually started by Elon Musk's two cousins, Lyndon and Pete Rive. And they were crowdfunded by Elon. He had made some money on PayPal. And they started this business in California. Mm-hmm. And basically, the whole time Elon was kind of pulling the strings. He was the CEO of the he was the chairman of the board. And after 2016, it just made sense in Elon's mind to integrate both the energy and the automobile side under one brand. And a lot of people think that Tesla is just an automobile industry or automobile manufacturing company. But frankly, if you were to sit down and have a 5-minute conversation with Elon, the key factor for him is energy, right? That's the component.
Yeah.
But by building a really cool car that runs on electricity, you gain attraction. You begin a following.
Right.
So
tell me what happens then. You come back to Bismarck. You want to start this company. How do you do it? What are the steps that take place then?
Well, I really didn't want to start it right away. I mean, working for Tesla for 7 years, it's tiring. You know what I mean? Like it's non-stop. It's like being on a rocket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I took a bit of a sabbatical, and I made up for some lost time with my son who lives in Devil's Lake. And I thought, well, I'm gonna start talking about solar power here. And what I realized right away is that there's a lot of preconceived notions. Preconceived notions in solar is everywhere, but particularly here in North Dakota. So I just started discussing this stuff with people and seeing if I could find some people who had an interest in learning more. And that's how it began, and that's the emphasis to anything related to solar power is just educating people, eliminating some preconceived notions, and starting to deploy some solar energy.
So tell me specifically what your company does. Do you manufacture panels and install systems for businesses and homes? What do you do?
Yeah, we don't actually manufacture. There's an abundance of just phenomenal manufacturers when it comes to solar power. Panels today, I mean, there's certain tiers and they're designed to last, 40, 50 years. They're hail-proof to a degree, So I didn't want to get into that space. What I do is I basically meet with homeowners and business owners. We take a look at their utility on a holistic approach, and depending on the utility, how they use their power, when they use their power, we design a system. I design a system that's most appropriate, and the key factor to most appropriate is how do I save people the most money, right? And sometimes in the world of solar, bigger is not always better, and we have to work within the confines of the utility company and other variables. But I can share with you that here in North Dakota, we are ranked 13th in sunlight energy in the country. Over a calendar year, we get more solar power than the state of Florida. And I know it's mind-blowing for some people to think.
The Sunshine State.
Yes.
And we beat
absolutely.
them.
Yes, we do.
Another reason to move to North Dakota if you want that. beach life.
Just look at any of the crops. Ask any farmer, do they rely on the sun for their,
right.
what they grow. So, so that's what we do, and it's all revenue grade. At this point, it's kind of dummy proof. I mean, we have software available that we can design systems anywhere on planet Earth. We can pinpoint a location, set an angle, and we know with precise accuracy exactly how much energy that system will produce for a very long time. So we compete against the utility companies to a degree, but I'm trying to work build a great relationship with utility companies because, solar creates resiliency on the grid. It's just good it's where we're at,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been doing this since before it was cool,
Mm-hmm.
but now it's trending really, really well. And as an example, we have a wholesale provider here, Basin Electric. They provide the wholesale side of the energy to the co-ops. And they have just in the last 6 months entered into 2 agreements to buy solar power for a long-term contract. So, being in this space, being here, knowing that the wholesale provider is buying solar energy, it's key. You cannot deny the value of solar when the wholesale power provider is entering into 15 and 20-year agreements.
So how many people in the company?
So I'm to a degree a solo artist, right?
Okay.
There's no one else like me. Unfortunately, I've got all this knowledge, right? And I have to find a way to share it. And I've been trying to throttle scale, right, carefully. I want to manage this with grace and dignity. I want to make sure that I can follow through, right? And I'm taking this as I'm playing the long game. For example, I'm entering into an agreement. I hope we're almost there with a public school system, and the key is to put a solar array at this technical high school, so that we can use this as a technical guide and a training, right? I live in Bismarck, and we have up north a lot of individuals that are working in the coal industry, and I didn't do it. Don't blame me, but this is shutting down, right? And we need to get people trained up. And solar energy is the fastest growing energy market on the planet. And so the key for me is not necessarily massive growth and wealth, right? It's how do we train these folks to get them into something that they can get into, where they can they can take care of their families.
Charlie, you mentioned earlier solar panels last 40, 50 years now. One thing that really interests me is the new technology that helps them last longer, how efficient they are. And I know the big thing used to be about disposal. They're nuclear, they're radioactive, they got to be shot into space, or if you have old solar panels. And I know that's another probably a bit of a myth, isn't it?
Totally. Solar panels are nothing more than layers of silica. It's sand, that capture the sun's UV and turns it into DC electricity. And then the key is just to convert that DC electricity into AC, which is something that, we understand to turn on the lights. So it's very, very simple technology. There's no moving parts. It's fixed, and it just works. How they're increasing efficiency and getting more wattage, it really has to do with the glass that's on top of it. It's more of a plexi, but
okay.
Certain cuts and rivets and things like that, they're trying to gain more efficiency.
Yeah.
Does winter pull back on that at all? Obviously not, because you're up here.
Winter. I've installed. I mean, I've raked off snow and on metal roofs to install solar power. I'm not afraid of hard work, but the key is that when we discuss efficiency with solar panels, what we're really talking about is how much energy will they produce when the temperature gets above 85 degrees. And that's one of the reasons why North Dakota is just, we just have an abundance of opportunity here with solar power because we don't necessarily have those. We have nice, crisp, cold, sunny days. And that's where solar panels really work the most efficiently.
Interesting stuff, yeah. You mentioned a minute ago about the kind of the bigger conversation here about coal and the future of natural gas and petroleum and so forth. How do you do what you do and avoid getting caught up in that political discussion of, well, I want to come along and take somebody's place that's doing a good business now? Because I'm sure you hear that, or at least you pick up on undertones of that here and there.
To a degree. I mean, there are people that, here's what I have decided, and I decided this a really long time ago, when not working for myself, but working for others. There are enough people out there that have an interest in learning about solar energy, where I don't have to go find the people that may not have any interest or that have that negative, disposition about them. I'm not the one who created all of this, right? This is just a trend. This is a global trend. I did not do this. I just happened to be the guy who decided I didn't want to live in Jamestown anymore in 2013 And Arizona seemed like a really cool spot to be. So I had a friend of mine who lined me up with a gig. I mean, that's really what it came down to, nothing more.
Yep. And the rest is history. Tell us what the future looks like for your company. Do you hope that there are branches across the country? Do you hope to have 500 people working for you someday? What do you hope the future looks like?
I've owned a small business in the past. I owned a construction company, and I envy the time that it was just me and this little truck with some tools, right? I mean, that's the key. I mean, of course I want to grow, but more importantly, I want to educate. I really do. If I could just get paid to just drive around North Dakota and educate people on solar energy, I certainly would. And I do that to a degree, altruistically, of course, but I do that. And the key for me is, my family's been in North Dakota since about 1860. And this is my home. And this is the last stop. This is the final frontier. And so to answer your question on where, just here, man. That's it. All I care about is North Dakota, This is my home, and this is where I'm going to make it stick.
Don't you feel like North Dakota can be, maybe we are more of this already, but some sort of like energy mecca, which sounds really weird if you talk to somebody in San Jose or New York City about North Dakota. But here, when you think about it, we've got all of the oil and natural gas reserves. We've got the lignite industry, the coal people. We've got wind. I mean, in North Dakota, we have wind, brother. And now we have, a solar element too. It's like North Dakota is kind of this great melting pot of energy up here.
It is, but we really need to get our solar energy production up and dramatically for us to really stake our claim on that, for sure.
Okay.
Right? We got a lot of opportunity. Right?
Who's ahead of us in the solar that's really pioneering a lot of development, that kind of thing? Who is everybody ahead of us? No? Okay.
Everyone. We're stacked dead last for sure.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's measurable.
Okay.
That's not opinion.
And is that because just it hasn't gotten around here, or you think that certain voices sort of take the energy out of the room when it comes to the conversation? Or
I'm gonna leave that question alone, man, because all I can do is come up with theory, right? All I do is I wake up every morning and I have tunnel vision on how can I help more people understand the value of solar power.
Yeah, makes sense. Tell us a little bit about about how we can find out more about what you're doing. You have a website, you have a Facebook page. What do you do to kind of get the word out?
I do, and of course, I'm growing this thing, right? So don't judge my website and all that stuff.
Yeah, we get it.
I mean, you can Google Dakota Solar Energy. We've got a website. We've got some social media presence and stuff like that. But frankly, my phone number is virtually everywhere. And if anybody has any questions about solar power, they can give me a call. I'll give my time, no problem.
Okay. I promise I'm not asking this question on part of my sales team.
Sure.
But I'm going to ask you, how do you get the word out about what you do and because most of us don't know much about you. How are you doing that so that we change that?
Well, you know what? It's all organic, and it's really cool for me because I get to kind of pick and choose my customers, right? I'm still in that early phase where it really, who I choose to do business with right now, that's like the catalyst to, the long-term growth, right? And that's really exciting. And I'll tell you a little secret. The majority of my customers have come from utility companies.
So Cass County Electric says, hey, we've got all these things that are available, and what, they refer them to you if they want to do the solar piece?
Yes, and I couldn't say Cass County Electric. I will tell you in full confession, I'm trying to manage this, right? And so living in Bismarck, I can't just come to Fargo right away, right? Like I'm excited to come to Fargo, right? I'm really excited. I've lived here and I have a lot of friends here, but I deploy, right? I do it all. I mean, I'm up on the roof too, right? So I got to be careful about, how much I spread the word in places like Fargo, because I live in Bismarck, but not Cass County Electric, but some co-ops in the Bismarck area. Folks will call in and they will ask, "Hey, look, we're interested in solar power. What can you tell us?" And they will refer them to me.
Okay. Okay.
And I believe I've built some credibility with utility companies. I don't think that came free.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm excited and honored about that.
Well, it's an interesting conversation, and the way our country, our world is moving, we need energy, and we believe in kind of an all of the above strategy when it comes to those things. And there's certainly room for everybody. And so interesting to hear your story and find out what you're doing. We wish you all the best, Charlie. Great to have you here. Thank you for sharing your story with us.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much. Thanks.
Spcharlie Ricketts, he's the CEO of Dakota Solar Energy. This has been the Vaaler Insurance CEO Spotlight. Their employee benefits specialist